would be like for aliens, or if you had like 8 arms or 3 faces or something along those lines. Is that going to affect how all that works?
Depends on your beauty standard.
And hmm,
Do you have beauty standards, Paul? It's important. Everybody wants to know.
the beauty
I just
lies inside.
nope, nope.
Just some of you motherfuckers are homely. I don't know what to tell you.
No, 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 no. Live by the advice of you know, Avenger and former makeup artist Jeremy Renner. All you need are good eyebrows and a good lip gloss. That's it.
Well, I'm screwed.
Well, I know you got to fix that eyebrow problem.
The eyebrows, nothing, nothing. There's
You
just
have
nothing.
you have like Cthulhu brows.
Yeah, that's actually a really good name for them. Yeah, yeah, it's really bad. I actually I've been putting off a trip to the hairdresser to get that taken care of, and I'm glad Veronica's
What
giggling a
you
whole
don't
lot.
get your eyebrows plucked?
You can't pluck these. All you can do is
You'd
fight
have
them
to be
with a
like
sword.
you could try getting them threaded. You
Oh
don't know
dear
what threading is.
fucking god, that scares
What
me more than
what
Terry
is
lifting his
threaded?
shirt to show us his scars.
Threading?
Yeah, what is threading?
Threading is it's usually used for thicker, darker hair, but essentially it's it's like it's the same premise of tweezing and plucking, except you're using uh you're using a piece of string or cord. It's very fine, and you're running it over, and it's catching the pieces and pulling them out.
Okay.
Oh,
With Paul, the only way to really effectively do that is to spread hot wax over his entire face and just yank it all off in one go.
no, you need something corrosive. I mean, we're talking Joker level here. It'd be bad. La Brea tar pits. I just need to dive in there and then come back out. It'll all be good.
Your
It's pretty
pores would be
sad.
amazing.
I know. Think of that. That would be like the fountain of youth, right? Just dive in there. Never mind the scars. Matt says, "Well, if your eyebrows are anything like mine, eventually they turn into butterflies. And that's pretty, at least." I have to go see the person to mow them once they start asking for coffee, and that shit happened this morning. So it's getting time. When they start showing signs of sentience, it's time to kill the bastards. I wish I was a mentat. I wish I had that kind of memory. Yeah, that'd be kind of nice and calculation skills, because then it wouldn't be so hard for me to remember to say, "Howdy, folks, and welcome to another episode of the Dead Robot Society." I'm Paul E. Cooley. Joining me today, Veronica Jaguar and Terry Mixon. How are you, folks?
Woohoo!
And
I'm
you
here.
people in chat.
Crazies.
I've been mixing latest episodes. I haven't put them up yet. And I get a chance to hear how often chat derails us. And I'm keeping score. There's a scorecard. I'm not going to share it right now, but there's a scorecard, and you guys are competing against Terry.
Oh no, this is not how this is going to
Oh
work. It's
wow!
gonna The thing is going to be Paul versus the chat, and it's going to be 6-0 in favor of chat.
It's
That'll
probably
you
true. I've come up with topics, and you guys just obliterate them. There's just no point.
topics?
Yeah, I have to come up with a title for the episode because it might actually get somebody's attention who might actually benefit from the whole 2 minutes of cogent advice we give on this show.
If they can
Okay.
parse it together in 6-second increments from
I
Yes,
was
wherever
about
we
to say
exactly.
if they
season
don't
it throughout
season
the
it
show.
straight.
If I were to buy into this AI bullshit and I trusted ChatGPT or some other crap to do this, I would love them to read through there and go, all right, bullshit, 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 bullshit. All right, here's Terry on a 30-second rant that's really cool. All right, there we go. All right, this exchange is funny. Bullshit, bullshit. Be able to go through there because I don't have time to do that shit, but it would be pretty damn funny.
Do you ever see any of those like approval meters that they have during debates, political debates, where they show what the crowd is thinking about it as the politician is talking?
Oh my god.
Ignore the political part of that. We can have one of those for the show, and you can see what part of the show the listeners were amping up on.
It'll be when there's a cat on screen.
Could be.
I mean, that doesn't take much science. It's going to be when there's a cat.
Sorry. So I'm wearing a Linux shirt, got Linux shirt, and Matt says anyone whose preference in Linux has to be at least part Mint, but I don't use Mint. Anyway, wow, I already derailed the how the hell are you doing the small talk thing. V, what
So
have you been up to?
basically, that's Paul 1, chat 0, if you're keeping score at home.
Step it up, guys. Step it up.
Damn it, V, hurry up before these
Ah.
people run over us.
All right. Let's see. I have new hardware. Yay! So I had my shoulder clavicle surgery on Wednesday, and scars are really pretty. Look at that. Well, they're not scars. They're just. It looks like a 3-year-old.
They will be
marker.
scars by the time
Look,
they're done,
Look.
but very sedate ones.
I have,
Yeah,
to break, I have to break in, and I have to say, please do not do that. It will spur other things to happen that happened during pre-show.
You mean like me pulling up my shirt and showing off my equally,
I was hoping she
scars?
would get what I was talking about, and you wouldn't.
Just pull it like this.
No.
There we go. I can lean close enough to get a good look.
Oh my
There
God!
we
For
go.
those just listening to the podcast, it's horrible. It's
Yeah.
awful.
Yeah.
It's like
Terry's
watching a
making me
haddock
look
being
tan.
born.
Yeah, it's awful. Me rolling up my sleeve. It's the scandal.
Oh no!
Look, I
Yeah.
have to keep the podcast people in suspense. I don't know what to tell you. It's
Oh, you wanted to see the other scar as I stand up and start messing with my pants
No,
while
that's
facing
like
backwards.
No.
That's why I was afraid to even bring up the topic. V, please rescue us. What
You
else is
started
up?
this.
Right.
You
Not.
started this.
I did not.
Paul 2, chat 0.
Man. So I'm in this for 3 to 4 weeks, based on what I've read. PT starts next week. I am a terrible patient. My family is getting frustrated with me because I do not accept help readily. And yeah, but so that's really been it. I managed to get a little bit of writing done in between here and there, but I haven't tried to type much with my right hand. I actually did get a teeny tiny bit of writing done Thursday, with my group. But that's because I think I read somewhere that you can do 70% of your typing with your left hand. If you think about it, with all of like the,
Yeah.
at least in the English language.
I can see that.
I was in a
Oh.
sling in my left arm for a while, and after I tore my right arm up, I had to use my left arm for a bit because I couldn't use it. And it's tough, but you can do it.
Yeah, it's manageable. My handwriting is actually decent with my left hand. I just have to go slowly. But yeah, so it's been it's for someone who needs to write or type to get ideas out, stuff is a little slow. But it is what it is.
Thank God for dictation. For me, it works.
For you, great.
Considering that I was in a sling for 3 months and then had another almost 9 months of physical therapy before I fully regained the use of the arm, I would have been in really sad shape if I hadn't had dictation to fall back on.
Yeah, so it's been interesting. I finally started watching Star Trek Lower Decks. I'm not disappointed. I've also been watching some really bad TV, and yeah.
Care to elaborate? Matt says, V, I feel your family's pain. I'm waiting for my dad to come out of the hospital again, and he's the same as you. Independence is great until it's in someone you need the help.
Yes, and stopping it's both an independence thing. It's also a mom thing. Like, it's just easier to do things on your own rather than explain what needs to be done, because you're going to waste just as much time explaining as it does to get something done. So, and I don't always have the patience for that. So it's been interesting.
And on this episode of Dr. DRS,
The D is doctor. It's Dr. RS.
You know what? Never mind. I'm not even going to continue with the bit.
Yeah,
Well, it's Dr. Maybe it's Dr. S.
I was hoping
maybe it's
Terry
just
would jump in
doctors.
and save me and know where I was going, but that just did not happen.
No, that didn't.
I wish I could do the dictation. I try, my brain turns to mush.
What I would recommend for you to try if you want to continue doing that is dictate without looking at the screen. If you're not paying attention to the words as they're going on, what trips up early people doing dictation is they're watching the words appear and it's messing up their creative flow. So if you have a setup where you don't have to be sitting right there on the screen watching it, you can use that. Or you can get one of those little sleep masks and put over your eyes so that you can't see the screen, and you're just dictating, and you fix everything that goes wrong with it in post. But there are ways to get around that until you train yourself that it's okay to see the words.
Oh, the oft-heard podcast, the 2012 version of all the podcasts. Oh, we'll fix it in post. Until that line shows up in post. That's just not, yeah.
So, what about you, Terry?
I finished a book yesterday, so that's
Woohoo!
good.
Huzzah.
So book
Congrats.
10 of the Last Hunter series is off to the editor. I wrote another Empire chapter today and posted it on Patreon. I'll go back to writing book 11 in the series tomorrow. So yeah, one day after the other. I put up a ton of cat furniture for you folks that may not have seen pictures. This is the cat furniture I already had.
To contribute to Terry's
And-
intervention Kickstarter, go to
As you can see,
kickstarter.com/too-many-goddamn-cats.com.
I may have added a little bit more to my setup.
The goal is not to have so many that you have to have one feline per furniture piece.
They want choice.
Okay.
Wow. Well, it's more
I'm
exciting.
I'm just saying, if you can get them all to pose there, that'd be a heck of a Christmas card picture.
Cat Nirvana in that room. Yes. Hello, Brett.
Hang on. Timothy said something I want to ask him about this here.
Oh, okay.
He said he agrees with me, which is obvious. Everyone agrees with me, so that goes without saying. He says training his dragon with the Corsair headset has been interesting because after 5 years, he's finally looking at the text appear. I thought you got the Corsair so you didn't have to look at the text appearing. I'm a little confused at this.
I don't know why you're confused. Maybe his computer's slow.
Maybe. But whatever the case is, you can adjust to it. It takes practice.
Matt says, I saw a live stream once of someone trying to use dictation and read it off the screen at the same time. Because of the delay between speech and text, he just ended up going slower and slower.
I type at 30 words a minute, so I am an incredibly slow typist. Even slow is faster than what I can type. And as Paul will tell you, I don't know how to shut up, so that's helpful.
Yeah, I imagine when you sit down, all you got to do is talk for 2 hours and shit. You've got like 30,000 words of stuff.
That would be impressive. Most people can't talk more than like 10,000 words.
Have you gotten him on a rant before? Oh my God. I can only imagine what he's like in private when he's yelling at clouds. I mean, Jesus. I think it was Johnny Machida or whatever in the 80s that used to do the ads where he'd do the disclaimer at the end.
Oh, the Micro Machine guy.
I guess. I think that was before they started splicing it together, but I think he could actually talk that fast, which was just scary. Really, really scary.
Tim says he'll eventually not look at the screen, but he wants to see how it's working now so he can produce a cleaner draft at full speed, followed up by this.
2 hours equal 12,000 words for me.
I think you are a slightly faster dictator than me because I tend to watch the words and I tend to pause and do things because of the way I talk.
Plus, when pew 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 takes up so many pages.
Insert big explosions here.
I thought
Kaboom.
about that. I ran
Boom.
across one of those in Neptune Scars. I was editing. I was like, this is an entire scene I left blank, and I don't even need it. But it said, "Insert stuff here." It literally said that. I went, "Yeah, we'll skip that." I don't need to add another 3,000 words to this shit. Just skip it. It's not important.
What? No big bada boom.
No big bada boom. I haven't put one of those in my work yet, but that is a good one. See if the editor actually catches it. That would be hilarious. That would be awesome. I think it's interesting that the dictation speed is different between y'all.
I'm satisfied with where I am. If I can get a 5,000 word chapter done in 45 minutes ish, that's good for me. If I get a little bit lower words, that's fine too. I don't try to get 12,000 words in a day.
Right.
I have a top limit to my creative output. If I do more than, say, 6,000 words, then I'm really having to dredge my brain to do more. I'm ready to stop. So I don't set those high goals for myself. If I get my writing goal is 4,000 words a day or the chapter. If I go a little bit more on 4,000 words and nail out the chapter, that's fine. But I'm satisfied with that. It gets me where I need to go, and I'm not stressing over it anymore.
I find it interesting. Your chapters are at least 4K, or that's what you're trying to shoot for.
I used to try to shoot for shorter chapters, but my chapter length has increased. I think in this last novel, the average chapter was just short of 5,000 words. I had one that was almost 10,000 words.
The reason why I'm laughing is when I wrote The Black, I got all sorts of shit from Terry and Justin about the fact that I had a 12,000 word chapter.
Well, sure.
Hang on. No, I'm gonna go check a draft that I have to see how long some of these other chapters are.
I was told no way a chapter should be that long. It should be broken up at a logical point. And my argument was there is no logical point to break this. So I'm just thinking about from laughter about how things have changed with experience. There just are some cases where I wouldn't stop a chapter either. I let it go, let it ride.
Tim says 5,000 in 45 minutes is about his words per hour, and he wouldn't want anyone to come away with the idea that he does 12,000 words every day. He usually shoots for 6,000 a day at top speed, but it's tough to say that much. And okay, that makes me feel better because I'm like, I think I'm giving this all I got, but I run out of creative juice before I get to the end of that.
I don't think I'd be able to do dictation with as fragile as my voice has been. That would be bad.
I don't do Veronica level of voice training, but I do try to take care of my voice so that I don't tear myself up. I do go through a lot of cough drops. Let's just put it that way.
I probably need them. Of course, I'm fighting allergies on top of everything else, so I'm sure I sound wonderful.
Depends on what kinds of cough drops you have. Okay.
Honey lemon.
Do they have menthol in them or not?
I don't think so. It's just Hall's honey lemon.
Hall's does have menthol.
Okay.
I've been told that menthol is not good for your vocal cords.
Okay.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah. So the ones I usually do are the Luden's cough drops because that's just pectin. And then another brand that I can't find around here, but I have been able to find when I've been in Texas is Pine Brothers. And it's literally just it's just pectin and sweeteners and stuff. And the idea is it coats your throat. And then the other thing that I swear by, and I'm running out of them, are they're maple syrup candies. It's literally just crystallized maple syrup.
Oh.
Sounds good.
Oh.
Tim says he's sorry for the typo. He meant 6 chapters a day is what he aims for, which is roughly 10,000 words. So he does aim for 10,000 words a day, which is, far above. I would never try that because my creative juices run out too quick.
We don't want to hear about your juices.
You
Okay.
want to hear about how juicy Terry
Look,
is? Admit it.
I was just reading Salem's Lot, came across a certain portion of that, and I was watching some bad horror movies, and there was things about there was juicy stuff going on. For those interested, I was watching From Beyond, 1985.
Oh.
Yeah, a really terrible joint. Anyway, it was you said juicy, and that reminded me of everything.
Hey, at
Yeah.
least at least it's just juicy and not moist.
Eh. So
She
you
just
asked.
she just answered that.
Oh no, there are other things too. There's what you can do to take care of your voice. So I've got the preferred cough drops. I invested in this. I think it's totally charged here on my desk. It's a vocal mist, which is really just a very fancy saline nebulizer. But it's really cool. Yeah.
Part of what else I do is I may only dictate
Yeah.
5,000 to 6,000 words a day, but the other half is I'll go back through and I'll read it and fix all the dragon issues that I find with it in a pass afterwards. So it's not like that's all I do in the day. It's half of what I do in the day.
Gotcha. Okay.
And no, it's JR, it's literally a saline nebulizer. So if you've ever had to use a nebulizer for like little kids for albuterol,
My wife has used one, so yeah.
same thing, except this just
Be
uses
careful.
saline and it's on a timer. So when my voice starts to get dry and scratchy, I can sit down and breathe through that. And then when I start to warm up before I start recording, I go through a whole bunch of singing exercises and vocal exercises, and I'll have that on. So that's helping to lubricate everything. And then tongue twisters, and I don't yell. Try not to yell. And I don't have anything dairy before I record. So coffee usually has oat milk or almond milk or both in it.
Coffee and almond milk.
No, coffee and oat milk usually. Oat milk doesn't separate as much as almond milk does.
It shouldn't even be called almond milk. It should be called almond liquid type substance.
Yeah.
Ugh. Ugh.
Yeah. To be fair, oat milk coffee creamer, if you find a good one, I can't tell the difference. It's got a very smooth mouth taste, and there's no sugar in it.
Huh.
Because I stopped putting sweetener in my coffee a long time ago.
The reason that I do it that way, Tim, is because I've got a limited amount of creativity that I do, and I'm done writing. If I say I finish eating breakfast, do all the other things around the house, and I do, and start at 10 o'clock, I've finished my writing about 1 o'clock at that rate, even taking breaks in between and doing whatever else. So I've got another couple of hours that I can do, and so I shoehorn in the reading of rather than waiting to the end of the book. So that saves me about 2 weeks of time at the end of the book that I don't have to do this.
You got to do it at some point. I think it's best to do it while it's fresh in your mind. It's just like if I record a chapter and I don't have time to edit it, I want to come back to it fairly quickly because I remember where those rough spots are when I see one going, okay, that's what I meant to do there or whatever else. And it's easier to catch it.
It's the only problem that I have with doing it in process is that if I decide that I want to make a change, then I have to remember where I've done things elsewhere in the book to go back and make modifications because I'm not going to do a second read through. So continuity wise, it becomes a little bit more challenging.
Well, I mean, that's all I was going to say is you got to do it at some point. The question is, are you going to have to do it twice? And the answer is maybe.
Usually I don't change much. When I write something, it's pretty much the way it is. I may go back and say, oh, I need to change how many ships I had here. I may change some detail about it. And then I have to go back and find any time I referenced what I was going to do and make sure that I get all of the information to match up. It's
Right.
usually not something big. It's usually I make some minor change and then have to remember where else did I mention this minor thing.
And I'm sure you write all that stuff down too in some master notebook / story Bible.
Well, as a matter of fact,
Oh my God, it's
Every
terrifying.
every time I write a chapter, I go ahead and finish it out by writing up what I did in that chapter and try to remember as much detail as possible so that I have to go back and look for something, I may have a chance of finding it. Unfortunately, I've discovered that it doesn't help when you inadvertently delete part of your spreadsheet and you lose all of the character names from the Empire of Bones.
Oh, fuck.
Somehow I did that. And now that I'm writing book 15 in it, I'm like going, gosh, what was the name of that Marine Raider that was just an AI in somebody's headspace? What was his name? And you have to go searching through books to find him again. And by the way, the answer is Ned Quincy.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like, oh my God, how do I gotta find him? I gotta go find all that stuff. That's a pain in the butt. I also discovered that Dragon had somehow lost all the saved words and stuff that I did for the Empire books, so I'm having to retrain it on certain words.
Oh shit! Always wondered about that because when you say you're doing a different book, you're saving. Dragons should be learning off the same books that you're recording with it, right? You're
Well, in
not
this
starting a
case,
new training
it's
file
like
all the time.
you're using strange words. I use Marine Raiders. It doesn't know what that is, so it says Marine Raiders, Rateers. And I'm like, no, that's not it. I've got to go ahead and save the right word and train it to know what those are. When I do AIs, it doesn't do the capitalization correct. So I've got to go ahead and save it so that it does the capitalization the way I want it. Things
right,
like that.
right,
It lost somehow when I stepped up to 16, it lost all of the Empire stuff. So this is challenging, but it's something that I can overcome. It's more challenging writing a chapter a week and trying to remember what I've done in the previous chapters. Thankfully, I'm with the Empire books. I'm not doing my read through to fix it afterwards. I'm going to give it a full book read through to fix all of my shit because it's a mess.
William says for each story, he has a directory called Peeps, where he makes the file often empty for all the names that I make in a story.
That's one way to do it.
JR says, I once had the dragon translate medical nanites into milking Mennonites.
You know, that's a totally different plot line right there.
That goes back to our Amish zombie story, okay? Our Amish zombie apocalypse story.
Get the pitchfork, Jebediah.
Oh, no, it's going to be mechanical crazy. They're going to have some kind of like catapult that can be used as a nuclear weapon or some shit. It'll just, you know.
If you've ever seen any of the old stuff that was used for spreading hay out of a cart, it's like a big rotating thing with lots of metal prongs that go on it that moves the stuff there. I can imagine them putting that in front of the horses on this so that it does that and it eats up zombies as they go along.
There were lots of discussions about that in the zombie apocalypse panel at not DragonCon, Balticon. Those were just ridiculous, just absolutely ridiculous.
I just the phrase "churn thy neighbor" came to mind, and that's just not right.
So, Brett says, Amish cyberpunk would be so much fun. I think you just broke my brain. Amish cyberpunk. I got nothing. What did you say, V? Turn thy neighbor?
Mm-hmm. Because I'm thinking, like, if you've got that on the side, and then they're just, like, walking forward and shrunk. I'd wonder about the fertilizing aspects of it. You could probably, really, never mind.
Oh no, this was very entertaining.
Think about it. You could have a really, really good harvest the next year with all the nutrients that you're just putting back in the ground.
Yeah, until the cabbage starts trying to eat you.
But if you've got it, like Terry said, if it's the thing that you're grinding and pushing stuff
I don't
out,
believe this shit. I haven't seen the thing.
Like,
I've seen Day of the Triffids. I know all about this crap. Hey, Jebediah, about this net thing. Jared says
That's
he
it.
Winder wrote a sci-fi comedy story with a space Amish enemy.
See now, I can imagine a space Amish. He's mentioning space Amish in this here. Gets kidnapped like Princess Kelsey and gets turned into a Marine Raider. He didn't want that technology, but now he's got it, and by gosh, he's going to churn his enemies.
So, in case you hadn't noticed, I'm back on track 9. I broke through the bullshit that I needed to go through. Uh, I fought with looking at versions of stuff and could not find the missing chapter. No idea where it went. So anyway, it's okay. I replaced it with 2. So I added basically another 4,000 for the 2,000 I lost. So just don't shake your head at me, V. So
It's a terrible
anyway,
habit.
I'm rolling along and I don't know where the hell I'm going with. Well, actually, I do know where I'm going. I just don't know how this is going to end up. I'm doing the tried and true Terry method. I've got 3 possible ways that this, mystery could be solved. 3 possible people responsible. And of course, that may just be the first layer. But I don't know who they are. I haven't decided who it is. There's so many ways I can do this, and I just haven't decided which is the most devastating to go with yet. So I guess we'll see when I get there. But as part of that, I actually had to go and look up songs sung in Sumerian this morning to write some descriptions of things, which was rather interesting. I did not think such a thing would exist, but it does. Since Sumerian is basically Latin, really, really fucking old Latin. Estathicos says, get the people what they asked for, Paul. Write the remake of the street with non-copyrighted names. It totally would make no sense. Most of the jokes would disappear. That was part of the whole thing, was the shock value that went along with it. Nah. Butter your biscuits. We don't need Amish MC one-liners. Shush. Since the Black is on hiatus till October because we got to wait for Arrival to come out of its exclusivity, then I started broadcasting the original audio for Closet Treats on Friday. That was terrifying to hear my original voice from back in 2011 make the street Amish. Oh my God. What would be the point? So if you want to go hear my dumbass from 12 years ago, first novel, go to shadowpublications.com or the YouTube channel and go take a look at that. It's terrifying. I was going, oh God, I sound so young. And it wasn't.
The hot, sexy young Paul Cooley.
Yeah, we're not going to go with that. We're just going to skip over that. So anyway, that's pretty much how I'm doing besides recording when I can. And I managed to get several chapters recorded, but it wasn't enough. I still got to work on getting the voice back. But now I see there's an entire chat log of what I need to do in order to make that happen. So that's all good ideas. That's not what we're here to talk about today.
What?
We've
We're not.
fucked around for 33 minutes and we haven't gotten to the topic yet.
Oh, so we're on time. Cool.
Holy shit. Chat. Brett says, this is Dirty Road. Turn thy neighbor and butter his biscuits with nanotech ammonites. So, about today's topic. Today's topic is your best is just good enough. See, I always love the oh shit, I can't remember the name of the company now. The one that makes the calendars, despair.com or whatever it's called. One of their great things to make fun of corporate calendars was failure when your best just isn't good enough. I used to have that posted on my
that's a good one.
Yeah, it is a good one. It's demoralizing and absolutely true. But how does that go for writing? When do you know that it has nothing to do with failure? But at what point? That's the thickest says chat. Let's unionize and don't let the host blame you for derailing them. We're at war, brothers. We don't fight fair. Raise up time biscuit
Yeah.
chatbots. I'm trying to get us on topic. I really am. Y'all
No, no,
are
no.
helping.
No, there's okay. Best is good enough, and then there's also that perfect is the enemy of done.
Yes, and then the other favorite of mine that I heard from Robert is that art is never finished; it's only abandoned.
Mm-hmm.
So those three things all go together.
Yeah.
Which is at some point you have to kick the baby out of the nest, and it will either learn to fly or it's going to hit the ground with what your expectations are.
Mm-hmm.
And some of that could be before you send it to an editor, before you have a beta reader look at it, or whatever else. But the bottom line is, at some point, you have to let it go.
Yeah.
If you want to publish it, you got to let it go at some point. But that doesn't mean you can slack.
No.
It means if you're on your 9th draft, you're doing it wrong. In my humble
Rewriting
opinion.
is another evil that we shouldn't go through. That's a totally different subject.
Well, no, it's not.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
There is a point at which I think you may have an idea and you may start like, oh no, I've got to redo this. And then you do another like 1,500 words. No, that's not good. I got to redo this. And then you get to like 3,000 words. At what point is it, nope, you started, you hit that threshold. Now you've got to keep going. And then you can edit when you're done.
There's a difference between editing and rewriting.
True.
When I say rewriting, I mean the lack of satisfaction in what you're doing. You just keep massaging what you're doing. You will take your own voice right out of it. If you do that, it becomes pablum. And it takes what's unique about your story and turns it into nothingness. So rewriting it may be related a little bit to this, but it is a different sin that needs to be avoided.
I just call that overwriting. It can also be called over editing. But this coming from the guy who regularly ditches 15 to 20,000 words at a time when the novel's not going the way he wants it to. Brett says, insert image of Paul singing "Let It Go" from Frozen. I've never seen Frozen or listened to anything, so I have no idea. Somebody else will have to sing it for me.
We can do a voice dub.
Do what now?
We'll do a voice dub over.
Voice dub.
Take care, yeah.
Oh God, we're gonna get copyright struck. Tough
Nope.
shit.
Nope, it's off key enough. You're good.
Yeah. Lies. Fuck you, Disney. Anyway, there is a point where you have to let it go. I have a problem with this. There's a problem where I can get hung up on a chapter. I know how to get to the next chapter, but I can't get there because this one chapter is in my fucking way and I can't figure out how to write it. And I get stuck on it. And I wrote 3 attempts of it. And I flushed 2 of them down the toilet and kept 1. Because it took me that way for my brain to figure out exactly what I was trying to do and which one sounded right.
One of the things that I learned from Dean Wesley Smith was that a beginning writer focuses on words. You're obsessed with words. Is this the right word here? If I pick the wrong word, something is going to be wrong here. As you improve, you move up to where you're focused on sentences and paragraphs and chapters. And eventually you get to the point to where you don't think about any of those things anymore. You do choose the right words. You do occasionally focus on a word, but your obsession changes from the small to the large. And that's part of growth as a writer. When you get to that point to where you've moved up to where you're not really obsessing about any of the small things and you're just telling the story. That's where you need to be as a storyteller.
Yeah.
And when you get to that point, it becomes a lot easier not to go back and try to rewrite things because you're worried that it's not perfect. I obsessed in the beginning as a writer because I was terrified that what I wrote was not good enough, that it would fail, I'm faking it till I make it, and people are going to realize what a trickster I am. And you get to the point to where you have to put that voice aside. And I've been pulling things back that I've done as part of my writing process over the years. Excuse me. And it's a matter of every year something will change, and I'm trying to reduce the number of things that I do obsessing about, is it good enough? Because I need to accept at this point, it is. It's good enough. I don't have to make it perfect. I just have to make it good enough to where I can continue writing and move on to the next story. And that's something that's taken a lot of years to learn, and it would have been very helpful to know that in the beginning.
In my case, this doesn't work that way. I have to prototype, God damn it. And I also have to figure out sometimes what story I'm trying to tell. Am I trying to tell a story about jealousy and betrayal? Am I trying to tell a story about lovers reuniting? Am I trying to tell a story about blah, blah, blah? I have a point where there's 3 roads I can go down. Maybe there's 5. But all 5 of them are going to get to the same place differently. And there's going to be tatters and shreds left along the way. And I have to decide exactly how I want to get there. That changes what the person says. That changes how people react. That changes how their body language is going to be. And it's going to change how information gets revealed in the next several scenes where information needs to be revealed, because it's either going to be done in argument. It's going to be done with all this tension. It could be done lying in bed after having sex. It really, all that depends on exactly what story it is I'm trying to tell with the characters. So that's why I keep doing what I do. Esthethica says, would it be a waste of time to write the first draft, do a full-on rewrite, and then edit the needed parts and then end it there, or is the rewrite unnecessary?
I believe that the rewrite is unnecessary, but you may disagree with me. The answer is going to depend on how cogent the story is as you write it. If it's a hot mess, then you may need to go through and do more heavy editing as you're going along. I would say you write the first draft, then go back when you're done, read through it and change the parts and make it coherent the way you want it to be, and let it be that. And take the lessons you learn from that to your next book. The trap that we fall into is trying to make the one thing that we're working on reflect what we're learning. And that's not how it goes. What you learn is applied going forward. You're not going to take the book you're currently writing and make it better. You're going to make the next one down the line better.
Brett says, I usually edit as I go, but I also write mainly critical nonfiction pieces. So there you go. And I totally obsess on words because I find I get addicted to certain ones. I can relate to that all too well. I've gotten the complaints before. I can't read a Pauly Cooley book without finding the word "wan" in it. W-A-N. For some reason, I got a fixation on that. That and cops. Whenever there's trees, I have to have cops.
The cops of trees.
I love them. Yes, I love them. Love it.
Is it a cops or is it a copse? I guess I've never
It's
heard
cops.
it. Okay.
Those damn copses is everywhere. That can be, yeah, never mind. Never mind.
Where do you find a
Fine.
copse of trees? In a police tree station.
Anyway.
See, I will rework an outline. So I'll look at the outline and go, that's not working. And then I'll have like 4 or 5 drafts of an outline. And then I'll write. And then there might be little tweaks here and there. But yeah, it's because I think the outlines that I write are so detailed.
There's your first mistake.
No, it's not, because the
I know,
reason,
then you're not wandering in the wilderness.
I'm not wandering in the wilderness, and when I finally do have the time to write, I know exactly where I pick up and go. So it cuts down on the what am I doing, where am I going? It's the okay, it's time to write. This is where we start. This is where you have to end up. Go.
Yeah.
And so if I've got those, like right now, when I could actually write with my dominant hand, I had a bunch of scenes that I had in a notebook. And now I wrote them down, and now it's organizing them and figuring out what order they need to go into. Once I've got those, then I can flesh them out and have more detail there.
And there's nothing
And
wrong
what,
with that. There's
no,
absolutely nothing wrong with that.
but and that way I can decide, well, does this scene need to stay? Does it need to go? Because for me, I would rather, I think there's less, oh crap, what's the word? I have less investment in a scene, like just a quick outline of a scene than I have in a chapter. And
Right.
so I have less of a problem saying, that's not going to work. Let me try to do something else than writing, 2,000 words and going, oh, I just wasted all this time. Crap.
Here, Britt said something here that I'm going to comment on. He says, outlining makes sense if I can only stick to one. That is an illusion. That's not how outlines work. Outlines are what you see as guideposts going forward. Mm-hmm. You don't stick to it. It is not something where you're following a road and you're going to hit every single stop along the way. This is just trying to see the landmarks in the direction you think you're going. You're going to find something interesting and you're going to change course. And when that happens, if you're an outliner, you have to go ahead and scrap the outline going forward and redo the outline to where you think it's going now. So mm-hmm. You're not bound to it by chains. I feel that way anytime I try to use one, but it's not really true.
Yeah, I think there's a point where basically you end up kind of silencing yourself on some of the serendipity. I think that's really where it comes down to. I think I'm writing for the high of the serendipity. That those aha moments where you're like, oh, this is awesome. Where you figure that out, you get all the serotonin or whatever it's called, oxytocin smacking you around and everything else, making you feel wonderful. It's that high of seeing the pieces put together and having them fall in together. And I love that about it. V, you were saying? Sorry.
Huh? Oh. Yeah, I writing with my right hand, I probably could, but the joy of being responsible for more than just oneself is you have to save your resources. So
and vodka helps.
Vodka helps.
If it doesn't like it, darn it. So
how can you?
Yeah, it's the words will still be there. I've got notes everywhere. I am not at a loss for ideas.
And there you go, V. Advice.
Yeah, that's what she was responding to.
Or I can type, but it's also I've got projects to record first.
How is that going? Is that going to affect your recording at all? Did you
No.
do anything with your right hand while you're doing control surfaces and whatnot?
I just moved the mouse to the other side.
I was going to say your mouse.
It's just punch and roll, so I can still do, and I can still sit up straight. So as long as I can sit up straight, and as long as this is not dry from sleeping upright and snoring, then yeah, I'd be fine. I did luck out though. My neighbors across the street, they got their roof replaced the same day I had surgery.
Sometimes luck works in your favor.
So I did not have to put up with, and they had a great crew. They got the entire roof done in a day. I was seriously impressed.
That is impressive.
Yeah. So,
are you sure you didn't just you weren't on so many drugs you dreamed this?
No.
I mean, you haven't been outside since you got home, have you? Have you been outside?
I have.
Looked around since you got home? I don't think so. It's all a fever dream.
And I've got shitty dreams.
Yeah.
I mean,
changing my sleep meds, I've had my share of those too.
They said aim high. They meant higher than a combat boot.
Where are all the fluffy unicorns and sparkles and Mega Millions?
So
I'm not dreaming of roofing.
Paul,
what the crap,
sir?
How do you stave off perfection?
I gave up on it a long time ago. I try as much as possible to use the audio recording as the last step, saying, okay, this is cogent, it holds together, and I can't find any major issues. All right, it's time for it to go to editing. like Red Adept or whatever, or to Sever Press. It's time for it to go. That is really the last piece, and I mean, it may not be good enough. I may have to change that, and it may also kind of depend on the book and how many beta readers have gotten back to me on it, and how much I'm panicking about it. But I've getting a publishing schedule together, like I talked about last week or the week before, that with Cadence. I have to get one out every quarter, so I know the things I have to get done one way or another to make it there. So things have to be good enough by the end of that quarter, unless there's an external factor that means that can't get it done. Something terrible in life happens. Something happens to the pipeline above me or below me. It takes time to do that. So that's what I'm trying to stick at, and that will ultimately keep me from, effing around too much. J.R. Henley says, perfection. I named my laptop that and solved all of my problems.
Yes, but he also changed his error message to go, what we have here is a failure to communicate.
Is me in a human terrarium? Well, are you?
Wait a minute. A human terrarium isn't that more like a humarium?
Anyway,
if that was the case, I would not have a tenth of the responsibilities that I have.
I think hopefully that part of no, JR, he won't stop spying on you. You have no
Believe
idea.
me, there's plenty of things that goes on in JR's house that I really don't want to have any idea about.
That's right. He's got an AI that's watching it all for him. That's not a problem. He gets the highlights.
Now that JR has bought himself one of those Japanese sex bots, he doesn't need to come out very often. Maybe I shouldn't have used the word come.
Phrasing.
Sorry.
Phrasing. So much phrasing. So many phrasings. Lots and lots of phrasings.
How are those tentacles working out for you, JR?
Are they articulated?
Ooh, suckers.
I have the opportunity to make that scene happen, by the way.
Oh my God.
So you're saying you're coming up with a JR cameo right now?
No, but what immediately I pictured in my mind what he said, and I think we were going to the same place. I'm pretty sure I can make that happen in this story. Maybe, perhaps, maybe not Track 9, but in the story. Yeah. So, yeah. Thanks for that. Jesus Christ. Oh God! Put a little hentai. Is that what it's called? With the
hentai?
Anime?
I think so.
Yes.
I think that's the right word. Yeah.
Yes.
Or is that the tattoos you get?
I don't know what that one is.
It's called the same
That's
one?
henna.
Oh,
henna?
henna. Okay.
So I want you to go to a tattooist and say you
Whoa,
want a hentai, and then I want to see the results of that.
You're confusing henna and hentai? Dude. No.
Okay. Fine. Sorry. I didn't mean to trigger you.
I'm just
That's the thing. It wants to know how much JR pays for the sex bot and where does he buy it? Asking for a friend. RealDoll.com. I understand they have JR's, they pretty much own him at this point. He just leases them so he gets a new model like every year or something like that. Low mileage.
Oh my gosh. It's not low mileage when it comes back. Sorry. Not with JR.
Oh my God. Matt says if you're going to do that in Track 9, a lot of recording studios have air gaps between the walls, ceilings, and floor. Enough gap for tentacles and pentagrams. I hadn't thought about the raised dais. I hadn't even considered that for the recording booth. It might be hollow beneath.
Oh yeah.
And it would be for wiring and everything else because of all the Oh, Matt, thank you for pointing that out.
A well-constructed studio, you're going to have air is a fantastic insulator. So you could have a double, even triple-walled studio where one of those walls there's just air. Or
These folks
rock
would definitely need that in this goddamn city.
So, yeah.
So interesting. Yes, I am innocent, William. Jared says, come on over on Monday at something or something and we can explore tentacles.
I'm pretty sure that I don't want to explore tentacles with JR. That way lies madness.
I was going to ask about the size of the calamari, but I'll let that go.
Sometimes
Anyway.
the calamari is large enough to where it eats you rather than the other way around.
Right. There's just, I just do not have words. O'Reilly? That just sounds dangerous. Octopi have some inordinate number of genes compared to us, which means to me that they are much more complex organisms than we are. Do they really rule the ocean? Are they actually all like Dr. Evil down there?
Yeah, what happened with that submersible going down to the Titanic? It was tentacles.
That was my first thought is, oh shit, they actually found one.
The last words they heard were nom 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 nom.
Well, it does make you wonder about the drones, the deep sea drones they've sent down there past 2 miles or whatever that have blown up, and just pieces come to the surface after a couple of hours. Makes you wonder exactly what happened and will they ever know what happened. They could have gotten smacked by something, or it could just have been a pressure leak and gone. Wow. Jeez, Sarah's in a hurry for us to end this show. How did that happen? Actually, let's see, we're nearing 57 minutes.
We are.
Gosh, we barely even scratched the surface of this subject.
Oh, gee, I wonder why, because everybody kept derailing me as I kept trying to get things on topic. So what's the score now, Terry?
It seems like it's Chat 53, Paul 2.
Well, if you disagree with Terry's scoring mechanism, you can send an email to show@therobotsociety.com. You can find me on Mastodon at Paul_E_Cooley at BYRSE.social. You can find us at listeners to the Dead Robot Society Facebook group where Terry mangles all the madness. You can find us on YouTube at youtube.com/podcast. So you can see way too many cats and further derail us in chat. Like and subscribe so you always know we're live 3 p.m. every Saturday. And if you want to support the show, make sure we can pay our bills. You can find us at patreon.com/DRS podcast and buymeacoffee.com/DRS podcast, where for as little as $1 a month, you can get access to exclusive live show elements like what we're about to do right now, which is DRS After Dark,
where we will probably continue trying to talk about this very subject if you want to drop $1 in the tip jar and come on over.
But we'll probably just keep talking about tentacles.
Or we might just talk about tentacles.
And at the $10 level, you get your name read, and our $10 patrons are Tony L. Joy, Isabel Cushy, and Tim Niederreiter. Thank you to all of our patrons for making this show possible. I just got nothing. You just derail everything. We have one more thing we got to get to before we close out, and that's to admit we are caffeine junkies, and we get ours from CorpseCoffee.com. Visit CorpseCoffee.com. Take a look and check out their boutique teas, coffees, and their wonderfully weird webcomic, and tell them DRS sent you. Visit CorpseCoffee.com and get the dead in your cup. With that, we're out of here. We're actually finishing a little early.
There's time for one more tentacle joke.
Only one?
It'll be a short one.
Ooh, who's playing the tentacle? Whose tentacle is this? Have we seen it before? What channels? Was this that thing I saw on Pornhub? Come on, you can tell me.
I don't think I'm brave enough to go search for tentacles on Pornhub. I'm sure I don't want to know.
I goddamn well know I'm not.
No. Nope.
Nope. The dope machine.
There you go.
Yeah, that'll do it. See, we need to get and send her a placard where she can just hold it up that just says nope.
Maybe I'll once I have the use of my other hand, I'll pick up embroidery.
Matt says, "How can you tell an octopus's legs apart? You can't. They are identical."
On that note,
Good
That was
night,
bad,
everybody.
Matt.